What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Stock Hustle channel with your boy William. As always, first and foremost, any likes, subscriptions to the channel are always 100% appreciated. As always, guys, this channel is about teaching you how not to get hustled in the market and how to out hustle the stock market. So let's get into it. I want to bring you guys a new stock, a new ticker that I know a lot of you guys have been bullish on. There's been a lot of chatter on Reddit and Twitter. PROG is the ticker, or Progenity Incorporated. As you guys see from the chart, this play specifically is a genomic play. Essentially, Progenity is a biotech company with a multi-omics approach, right? They specify genomics, epinomics, proteomics, and metabolics to improve and diagnose the treatment of disease. So this is, as you guys can see from the ticker, a penny stock, essentially at $2.11, trending right about. We're still about an hour away from the close, or excuse me, 5 minutes from close. This is essentially a biotech company. So as always with these companies, there are a lot of catalysts that can affect the stock price, right? Specifically, this one has an extremely large short position established against it, which is also why a lot of people have been really bullish. Has been the trend for 2021. Short squeeze plays are extremely popular. This play is no specific difference. Before we get into the specifics of the company, let's take a quick look at the chart, because I always like to give you guys an update of what I see in the chart so that you guys can kind of understand what to look for, right? So as you guys did see, we are on this downtrend essentially from the start of the year, hitting a floor essentially here in August 20th, and ever since August we've been on this now uptrend, right? Looking specifically at the chart, it looks like, I want to say here is a good area of support that I found when I was combing through this play earlier before I made this video. I'll draw that line live so you guys can see essentially where. So if we extend it out, add the price on the right, change it to white, you can clearly see we have a point of resistance here on the chart with touch points. You have 1, 2, 3, you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 touch points on this line. So this would be a good point of resistance that I would see with today's little mini green day on this little green Doge candle you see down here. 222 essentially is the resistance we are sitting at. So that's the target we need to get past. As you see, we did hit, reject, and we've stayed below it now, trending here in this area, teetering between now at the end of the day for today on a red or green day. So keep that in mind. That is the point we need to break through. It looks like we also have some resistance up here. Yeah, this would be a good one that I would want to go with. This one right here. That would be a good point of resistance as well when you're wanting to figure out what channel we are wanting to break into specifically. That would be around the 356. So 222 to 356 is what I would go with. This is probably the channel we want to stay in. As you did see, we did do some trading back here from April essentially till beginning of August. We've traded in that channel before breaking down below. Looking at the indicators that I like to quote as best as possible, MACD, you see we are in this massive buying period we've been in essentially since September 1st, continuing this trend. RSI, since that convergence in our buying period, you see the RSI has been steadily climbing, hit, overbought, cooled off a little bit, almost back to neutral right at that 54, and then shot back up. So where we're sitting at now on the RSI, what could we expect? We could expect one of two scenarios, right? We could either get another cool off back to neutral before pushing up to the upside as long as we stay in this buying period, or we could still push to the top side for a little quick gain. I'll show you why I feel that may be the case in the options chain when we get to that in a little bit. And the ATR is showing you essentially a 30-cent swing, or if you double that, it's a 60-cent swing, right? Depends how you want to see it. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of the company, right? So as I said, this is a genomic, epinomic, proteomic, and metabolic company with diagnosing and providing treatment for disease. Specifically, one that I found interesting was this DDS2 system, which could result in improved efficacy and reduced systematic exposure to treatment of ulcerative colitis, right? So this is I guess your colon system, right, or your bowel system. It's essentially a delivery system of liquid drugs formulation, predefined locations in the gastronomical tract, right? So essentially what this is a mechanical capsule, is autonomous and identifies a location with algorithmic-based reflected light. The system could result in improved efficacy and reduced systematic exposure to the treatment of ulcerative colitis. I actually know someone who has this illness, and from what they've explained to me over the years, It can be pretty serious illness if you do have this illness. So to see that they are developing a drug, which for his case, who shared that with me at the time when he told me there was no treatment for this. So this is pretty cool to see. It kind of hits close to home, which is always good when you're looking into companies. You want to try to, you know, have a relationship or relate to them in some way, shape, or form, right? Obviously, with this system, it would have less toxic effects as doses needed to treat therapeutic effect, right? So it's essentially a capsule, right, that designates where the medicine needs to go and targets it to where it's less, I guess, counter effective to the person taking it, so it doesn't have a negative effect. It only provides positive effects, and there is the market. To anyone taking this medication that needs it for this specific treatment, right? Another little headline that I did see based on their website that they have here, they did just recently do a share offering on October 1st. Progenity entered and offered 13.3333 million shares, essentially, right? Share offerings are always seen as a very negative catalyst in the market, except for in 2021. We've seen anytime that there is a share offering, essentially what you get directly after it is a run up to the upside. October 4th was essentially here, where this massive red day that we had, and then you see it consolidate, build a floor, and then boom, big jump to the upside as of the 11th. Also, they did also recently have 4 patents that were awarded to this company, so that also is having to do with this specifically, right? But aside from that, I think what most of you guys are probably interested in is the short interest associated to PROG. So specifically, if we go to one of the favorite places I like to quote, Lucid Tracking, shout out to them. PROG, you see the ticker, they are ranked 13 on Lucid's rank, but take a look at the short interest, 42% short interest, right? That is an insane number. Now, this is a low flow company, only having 20.9 million shares on flow. Having 8.8 million shares short is a significant amount, if you ask me, right? So that interests me from the first start, number one. Number two, the fact that it's being talked about a lot on Twitter and Reddit and StockTwits was also very interesting to me, because I like to see, you know, what people's ideology is or what they're thinking or what they're seeing, right? You should never just formulate your opinion on one YouTuber or what one person says, right? You want to gather as much information as possible and then formulate an opinion based on all the information you gather, so that you can make better financial decisions for yourself, right? If we go into Nasdaq, as I always like to quote, to see what they are thinking or what they're seeing, and you go into the analysis and research section, you see that they have a buy rating on this specifically, one analyst rating only. However, let's look at their rating. So today we're sitting at $2. We closed today at $2 and what was that? 14 cents. So at $2.14, the low is $2. So we're basically sitting at the low. The average is 367 and the high being 5. So essentially a double up, right? If you're invested in this and buy 100 shares, you could easily expect your shares to double based on this analysis rating, right? Now, is that guaranteed that it'll get that? No. Is this an estimated? Yes. Is it a guess like anybody else? Of course. Because why? No one can predict the stock market. Literally, not one single person could. And if they could, I guarantee you they wouldn't be making goddamn YouTube videos. They'd be sitting somewhere on an island that they own, chilling, drinking pina coladas, relaxing, right? Enjoying life. Because you'd probably be one of the wealthiest people on this planet if you could predict the market. But I think you guys get the point. So that's this. What I also like to look at is institutional holdings. Who's holding what and who's not, right? So as you see, institutional ownership is at 41.47%. You do see currently with the biggest holders, if we go in and sort by holders, you see these are the biggest holders. I like to always see, obviously, the Giants, Vanguard, and BlackRock involved. That's always a positive sign. Someone that's normally short is actually long on this play, which is kind of interesting to see in them. But as always, you do see nice institutional ownership. Nothing reported as of late, all as of late June, early July. So essentially, we have not gotten any recent updates since then for Nasdaq. So what I always like to check too is get another idea from another site. What did I do? Went to Marketbeat like I always do, and I checked institutional ownership here. Here we see 53 million shares have been bought essentially as of Q2. Going into the filings again, you see the same things. Shares held, sorted by them, and then this is who you see holding the most. You see BlackRock again, Vanguard. Normally they have some of the bigger positions, but if you put BlackRock's both of their positions together, the one from February and the one from May, they're essentially sitting at 1.7 million shares. Vanguard is right under a million. This Algorithmic Capital Management has 36.3 million shares. They have a pretty large stake, and they've increased it by 34.6%. The other is this one here, Armist Capital, 189% increase. Also good to see. One of the other things I will always like to try to look for is who's shorting what, right? Obviously, we know there's a massive short position. It only has half a day to cover. It's not good. $16 million short over time. And let's take a look. This one does, I believe, not have a breakdown other than just Citadel. It doesn't give shares shorted previously, just current. They're shorting 20,500 shares. No surprise there, as we always know. They are always involved when it comes to shorts for some odd damn reason. As you see, their little buddy down here are always involved as well. But I did mention they do have a long position established on Progenity as well. So that's a little curious to see. It sounds like they may be thinking this will trade flat for a while. The biggest development was, like I mentioned, they did get 4 patents awarded. I believe it was on the 12th or the 11th that they did receive 4 patents. There was this article. I'll leave it in the description of the video below for you guys to see if you want to read into this. Anytime anything is being awarded to a biotech company, it's going to have a positive side on it. There is no other catalyst on their website. If you go on their website and go through, they have no other information or catalyst coming up, no presentations, no nothing as of yet, right? Unless they get some other kind of award. But as always, you always got to keep an eye with biotech companies and what developments are coming down the pipe, because those are normally what makes the stock price shoot up, right? And lastly, the flow, unusual whales. So I was messing with unusual whales. I always like to check the options chain, right, to see what people are thinking or what people are deciding. As you see, we see $2.1 million on the call side, 178.6 thousand on the put side. So we have a more bullish sentiment versus a bearish sentiment. When you look at the charts with no filters, nothing, what do we see? On the pies, pretty much green. So it's heavily bullish. What are they targeting? The November 19, 2021 expiration date. At what price? So we're looking at the $2 strike or the 2.5 strike being the most popular. So when you go into the options chain to try to figure out what kind of cost is associated to that, well, let's take a look. November 19th, you have the 2 and you have the 250. You're essentially looking at a $55 cost or a $60 cost with a delta of 0.66%. To me, that's pretty good. That means an opportunity of 66% to be profitable, right? If you're looking for a little bit of cheaper option, if you want to play this and as an option, you have the 250, which as we see from the chart was also heavily bullish. $45 to $50, you could easily probably put a bid in for 47 and get accepted, and you're giving yourself a 0.55% delta or a 55% opportunity to be profitable. The curious piece was this. When I went digging through the option chain as I normally do, I wanted to filter by bigger amounts. There are no $50,000 whales or more in this play. There are no 30,000, but at 10,000, we did see something a little different. So, the only thing I did different, for those of you that are curious or like messing with unusual whales, I went into my table settings and I added the delta, and I'll explain why. So when you add the delta and you filter by specifically the 10,000, all of a sudden we see this: 37,000, 11,000, 15,000 on the call side, right? Look at the deltas they're targeting, 80. Okay, you go down here. January and November. These Novembers here in October, they're targeting essentially excuse me, the 0.83 delta, 0.83, 0.98, 0.98, 0.76, 0.53, 0.53, 0.54, 0.60. So again, they are targeting the higher deltas, giving themselves a more profitable opportunity to be profitable based on the delta, right? That's not the only reason, but this is where the bigger money is going, right? If you look at the chart breakdown this way, it gives you this information, right? So once again, the November 19th expiration date is the hyphen or the emphasis with the the strikes, 150, 2, and 250, right? So anywhere in this range from 150 to 250 would be a safe bet if you're looking to play this option. I would specifically target either the November 19th expiration or the December 17th to give yourself a little more time, just in case it takes a little bit longer to get you that push. In either case, we're not talking about a lot of money here. From 150, you're talking anywhere essentially under $100 to get yourself a 0.81 delta. At the 2 for the December expiration, you're looking anywhere from $60 to $75 or $65 to $75, giving yourself a 68% to be profitable. And the 250, as you see, 50 to 55, giving yourself a 57% chance to be profitable. But as always, Please keep in mind that it does have a huge short position established on it, so this essentially falls into the category of a squeeze play. One of the catalysts that you will need for a squeeze play, though, is volume, right? You do see that recent spike in volume here. In the MACD, you see the gray bars. That is an increase in volume. That's always a good thing to see. This is a good play that I want to keep watching. I will be watching to see if we can break into this channel. And if we start pushing towards the upside, I may take a chance, a shot in the dark on an option. Again, with options, guys, please don't ever play what you're not willing to lose, as options are very risky. You need to know what you're doing before you go investing in options. But it does present itself a good opportunity with it being so hyped on Twitter, so hyped on Reddit, the news starting to talk about it, and the catalyst of the 4 patents being awarded. It does make me pretty bullish on this. If I do establish a short or a position in this play or open an option, I will be posting that on Twitter or on IG so that everybody knows. But as always, guys, if you have questions, leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to get to you. Otherwise, you can always hit me up on Twitter or IG. I will catch you guys in the next one.